everybody. Welcome to the MOJ podcast. I am your host, Monica O. Jackson. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you're new to my podcast, welcome. Sit back, relax, have a drink and a snack. I think you're going to like what you see here and what you hear and see. See the little rhyme thing I did? Anyway, here we go, y'all. Hey, once again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all your support. For those of you who've been with me for the long haul, you know I love you. Reach out to me on social media. Let's chat. Like, follow, share, comment, turn on notifications. You know what to do. If you'd like to reach out on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, I am MOJ Show. Once again, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, I am MOJ Show. And right here on my podcast, you can catch it on all of the platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey. So I hope you get a chance to check out all of our work that is posted on these platforms. We put a lot into it so that you will enjoy it. If you'd like to reach out to me via email, I do have an email address. It is mojshow@mojproductions.com. Once again, mojshow@mojproductions.com. And my website, mojshow.com. See how easy all this stuff is to remember? Once again, my website is simply mojshow.com. All right, we are getting started with the show because I love getting into my national days, months, and weeks. If you're new to my show, it's just a thing that I love, and I don't know why I love it. It just is. So we're kicking off National Month. Y'all know this is the month of July. See how fast June went? Yeah, we're already in July, guys. So for July, it is National Ice Cream Month. Oh, look at your screen. Oh my gosh. Now, for somebody who's lactose intolerant, that picture just tortures me. That's dairy. And I cannot do it the way I used to. Every now and then I just say, forget it, and I take the pain, but I love it. But check this out. So National Ice Cream Month takes place every year from July 1st through the 31st. It was officially proclaimed by President Ronald Reagan in 1984, along with the designation of the third Sunday in July as National Ice Cream Day, which in 2025, it actually falls on Sunday, June 20th, but you can celebrate all month long. Are you kidding? It's ice cream, baby. So here are some fun facts. So this is how you can get involved in National Ice Cream Month. And it's actually connected to basically helping out local businesses, which is a great thing. You can visit a local ice cream shop and try a new or limited edition flavor. Now, for those of us who are lactose intolerant, they do have, I think they're called like soy-based ice cream, and it doesn't hurt your stomach. I've tried it. Tastes pretty good. You can host an ice cream social at home, school, or in the office. Remember growing up, I think Gen Xers, we were more used to this than anybody, the ice cream socials. Really cool stuff. You can make your own ice cream at home by using classic or plant-based ingredients. When we were growing up, there were no plant-based ingredients. It was cream, sugar, and whatever else they put in. But plant-based wasn't even a phrase back then. You can share your favorite flavors and dessert photos on social media using the official hashtags. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a lot of ice cream posts for this month. I love ice cream, just can't eat it. Anyway, and you can support small batch or independent producers in your area. That's the part that I really like because I love supporting small businesses. We are a small business, my husband and I, with our production company, MOJ Productions LLC. So supporting other small businesses is a really big deal for us. Okay, so here's some really cool, fun facts about ice cream. I bet you guys didn't know this. Vanilla remains the most popular ice cream flavor in the U.S., followed by chocolate, and this one surprised me, cookies and cream. I thought it would have been strawberry, but it's not. Yeah, those are the top three. It takes about 12 pounds of milk to make just 1 gallon of ice cream. Look at this one on your screen. That's the one I want. Right? Oh my gosh, that looks so good. It's like black and gold ice cream. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Now, California leads the U.S. in ice cream production, followed by Indiana and Texas. I guess Texas and California makes sense because it's super hot there in the summertime. But Indiana, that seems a little odd to me. But hey, good on them. Now, the world record for the largest ice cream cone was over 9 feet tall, built in Norway in 2015. Yeah, I'm just bursting with facts like this. So July is also one of the hottest months in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, making it the perfect time for ice cream. So there you have it. Bet you never thunk it about ice cream. Excuse me, y'all. Ice cream isn't plaguing me. These allergies are kicking my butt, and they're getting worse as I get older. So I need some ice cream right now. And Ben and Jerry's is one of my faves. Love Ben and Jerry's. Those guys have been doing a lot of great work in the community when it comes to social issues as well. So stop by and support your local Ben and Jerry's. All right, moving on down and moving on up. It is time to call it like I see it. Now I'm going to be real careful with this one. We got this from the Associated Press, better known as the AP. Y'all know that's kind of like the Bible for those of us in the news industry. Excuse me. So this story is about mountain climbers, and they got stuck. Okay, so there are two men from New York. I'm just going to give you the gist of the story. Two men from New York. Their identities weren't released. They decided to summit, basically climb the mountain on a road trip. And it was, let's see, this was in Colorado. The summit of Torrey's Peak, which is a 14,300 foot mountain about 40 miles west of Denver. It's ranked variously as the 11th or 12th highest summit in Colorado and is less than 200 feet shorter than the state's highest mountain, which is called Mount Elbert. Okay, so these two men from New York, like I said, they're not telling us their names. They decided they're going to go on a road trip and summit or climb this mountain. Turns out the Alpine rescue team had to rescue them. So here's the gist of it. They first called for help around 5 p.m. after getting off course on their way up a technical route. Now, a technical route, for those of us who aren't mountain savvy, it's a different route that doesn't require climbing gear or expertise. Okay, so I guess if you're an amateur, that's the route you want to go. But why would you stop in? Anyway, let me finish. Rescue officials guided the men back on course because, like I said, they got lost. They got turned around. They made it to the summit. Minutes later, one of them called to report, you ready for this? That the other had been struck by lightning, y'all. Yep. Struck by lightning. So about 30 rescuers went up to the mountain while another team used the Colorado National Guard Black Hawk helicopter to get there and to get the guy who was struck by lightning. He was non-responsive, obviously in critical condition. And the peak, they had to go up, hoist his body 14,200 feet from that area. Okay. He was flown down to the ambulance and taken to the hospital. They call it Denver Hospital, to the burn unit. There's no word on his condition. The helicopter made another trip back up the mountain around midnight to get the other guy who was seriously hurt by partially touching down on the mountain. So, in my call it, sometimes I'll say things that just come out. My question is this. I feel like God made those mountains tall so we could just look at the beauty of them and enjoy them. There is no convenient way to climb a mountain because if there were, a lot of people would be climbing a mountain. I mean, it'd be easy. You wouldn't need all the gear, like walking on the ground. Walking's easy. We all have legs. We can all just walk. You don't have the gear, the footing, the human extra strength to climb a mountain. So I think it was unnecessary. I'll leave it that way. I just call it like I see it. There's no need to climb a mountain. Just enjoy its beauty. All right. I'm gonna let that go because I couldn't wrap my head around that story. Okay. Let's just keep it moving, keep it grooving. All right, y'all. Hey, it is time for What's Crack-a-Lackin'. We got a lot going on. In Vegas, there's always something going on. I mean, day and night. Sound like Prince. So when you call up this string in Beverly Hills, no, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's go to this first. Now, if you have not been following me or if you're new, check out my podcast on bourbon because there's an emerging wave of women who are throwing down in the bourbon business, in the spirits business, but bourbon is their focus. There's Women's Bourbon Association, women's this bourbon, women's that. And so it is killing it. Bourbon, that John Wick movie really made it popular. Blanton's is the one he really made popular in that one scene. But bourbon has taken off, and man, it's taken on a life of its own. So I wanted to bring you a couple fun drinks that you might want to add to your summer cookout menu or just a hangout at the house. And these are really cool. So the first one is called the Summer Shandy. Now, again, if you have not seen my podcast on bourbon, go back and check it out. It's right here in the library. Check it out. You're going to enjoy it because there's a lot of details in there about bourbon. So the first one is called the Summer Shandy. Now, apparently, it starts out with this new bourbon, and it's called Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon. Say that 3 times. Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon. Look at that. Doesn't it look good? And look at the cute little drinks here. Ladies, again, excuse me, there's an emerging wave of women getting into bourbon, and man, they're taking off. They are taking off. They're all over the place. You can just check out some of the websites. Again, watch my previous podcast on women in bourbon. You're going to enjoy it. But one of the drinks that is made with this Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon, I like saying that, it's called the Summer Shandy. Now, it blends the brown butter bourbon richness of Taffer's with bright lemon and a crisp blonde beer. That's pretty interesting, huh? I'm not really a big beer drinker. I can't drink it the way I used to anymore. So I just kind of steer clear of it because it kind of hurts. But I love beer. I love beer. So you might want to try that. Once again, it's Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon with bright lemon and a crisp blonde beer. That's called the Summer Shandy. Now, the second drink is called the Peach Tea. The Peach Tea brings that, the Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon together with chilled black tea and peach syrup with toffee and vanilla notes from the bourbon. Did you hear that? It's called the Peach Tea. Now, it leans into Southern flavors, pairing chilled black tea and peach syrup with toffee and vanilla notes from the bourbon. That sounds like food. Doesn't it sound like food to you? I absolutely love that. All right. And the third and final drink, excuse me, is called the Black Cherry Sour. Now, it blends the Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon with like a symphony of richness, citrusy notes, and the sumptuous depth of cherries. So you can try those. Once again, that's the Black Cherry Sour. So there are 3 you can make with this Taffer's Brown Butter Bourbon. And it retails for like $34.99. So not bad at all, right? You can check that out. The 3 drinks are the Summer Shandy, the Peach Tea, and the Black Cherry Sour. So that's what's crack-a-lacking in the world of bourbon. That sounds really good to me. I'm ready for one now. All right, moving on up and moving on out to Vegas, baby. Hey, 4th of July weekend is going to be hot, hot, hot in Vegas. Y'all need to check it out. First of all, let me give you this website. Visit LasVegas.com. Oh my gosh. Just imagine what's going to be happening in Vegas this weekend. Everything. Once again, it's visitlasvegas.com. That's basically the website for the LVCVA. If you don't know, that's the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Nothing comes through Vegas without going through them. LVCVA. So let me just throw a couple things at you if you're headed that way. If you're going to be there for the 4th of July weekend. Over at Caesar's Palace, they're going to have a fireworks show. And it's going to be huge. I have experienced it. We have experienced it. Nothing in Vegas is small. Nothing is just short. It's huge. Everything is on a huge stage, a huge platform. Downtown Las Vegas, the M Resort. Let's see. Downtown is going to have the fireworks. Station Casinos. That's like the local casino group that is all over the city. Like local people, like in the residential areas, they don't have to go far, and they don't have to go to the Strip to get to the Station Casinos because the Station Casinos are all about the locals. But everybody is welcome. Excuse me. They're going to have a fireworks show. The M Resort is going to host a 15-minute fireworks show choreographed to music. And most of the time, all of them are choreographed to music, especially at the big properties. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway Fireworks will be part of the NASCAR racing event on July 3rd. And this is one of the reasons Vegas is going to be packed. Vegas is always packed, but when there's an event added on to, just the allure of Vegas, I mean, it is so much fun. So, NASCAR racing event on July 3rd. You can check out the fireworks there. Other events. Now, these are on the west side of Las Vegas called Summerlin. The Summerlin Patriotic Parade, that's going to be huge. And people come from all over. It takes place on July 4th at 8:30 a.m., starting at Hill Point Road and Hill Center. So for those of you who are familiar with Vegas, you might want to check that out. Again, the Strip, Allegiant Stadium, Caesar's Palace, Tao Nightclub. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Guys, you know how many times I've seen that in person? It is unbelievably stunning. I love it. You got a whole bunch of visitors. Don's Prime, which is a steakhouse there at Fountain Blue. There's Allegiant Stadium, and it is gorgeous. If you haven't been to Vegas in, like, say, the last 3 to 5 years, you're not even going to recognize it if you've been there before. It changes all the time. If you leave and come back a year later, there's going to be something new. There might have been an implosion, because Tropicana's gone. They're making way for the baseball stadium, for the baseball field, I should say. But this is Don's Prime house, the steakhouse there at Fountain Blue. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, gorgeous. And that's not the only one. But I just wanted to give you an idea as to what's going on in Vegas, because you're going to have a great time if you go. I don't care if you don't go to the Strip. You're still going to have a good time because there's celebrations happening everywhere. But once again, check out that website. It is visitlasvegas.com and pick and choose whatever you want to do, because you will have fun, whatever it is. I promise you that. All right. And happy 4th of July, guys. Be careful. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Okay. Tell all your friends about that too. All right, it is time for our topic of the day. Now, it is called When Women Use Force. And this is just piggybacking off of my unbelievably honest, palpable, chilling, and amazing interview with Dr. Mildred Muhammad, who is the ex-wife of the DC sniper. Pardon me, guys. If you have not had a chance to check out that podcast, please click on that, watch it. And when I tell you, you're going to be compelled to share it, you're going to be compelled to watch it again, over and over again. Believe me, you will. It blew my mind, and I've been interviewing people, celebrities, politicians, community activists, survivors of domestic violence, PTSD, those survivors. This interview with Dr. Muhammad gave me nightmares because of what she went through. But what was gratifying was that she came out of it, and now she's thriving. So I wanted to, level the playing field, so to speak. We always talk about how women are abused. We talk about, all the resources available to them. We talk about all the things leading up to women being abused. But there is a sector that we never talk about. There's a group that we never talk about when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to PTSD as a result of domestic violence. Okay. And that is when women use force against men, when men are abused. And I know that might prompt a lot of people to laugh, like, girl, please, men being abused, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? There is a culture of men being abused, not only in this country, but around the world. And from my research, men don't talk about it. They don't share it. They suffer in silence because, you can guess it, men are masculine, supposed to be masculine. You're supposed to be able to handle your business and not have to call on anybody. All right. Well, let me share with you where I took a deep dive. This is from the author Anna Kippert and Stephanie Thurrott. And it's an organization called domesticshelters.org. And the article really highlights some of the things that we may not think about when in terms of men being abused. So some of the things they say is it's a well-known fact that men are more likely than women to perpetuate violence against their partner, though it is hard to accurately qualify or quantify the number of both male and female abusers since domestic violence is vastly underreported. But women who abuse men, they go about it this way, because the authors, they spoke to a lot of men about the domestic violence that they have gone through at the hands of female abusers. And they use, excuse me, not so much violence is what I picked up from it. Men say that women used coercion, threats, and manipulation to control or intimidate them. Yet very few abused men report it, usually out of shame and embarrassment due to the harmful stereotypes. Can you imagine? Have you checked on the male in your life that you suspect is not happy, not necessarily as a result of anything outside of what's in his home, which is his wife? Yeah, they don't check on, excuse me, they don't report it because of the stereotypes. So they suffer in silence. They feel that they should be the stronger person in the relationship. And they also don't recognize that non-physical forms of abuse can be just as devastating. And this broke my heart as I was going through the research here. Let me share some of the other things that I found out. One of the authors says, seeing more people reporting intimate partner violence regardless of gender is what is happening now, because they know that there is more of a focus on mental health since COVID happened. So focusing on one's mental health also opens the doors to what's going on in their lives. And for a lot of men in this country and around the world, abuse is going on at the hands of their spouse, which is a female. And now, because of the internet, there's more information about intimate partner violence. So people are more likely now, not enough, but more likely now to report it because they can do so in a way that doesn't put them in an arena where they're embarrassed or shamed. Now, here is what I found really interesting. The reasons that women cause harm. Okay, let's go down this rabbit hole. Women cause harm, they say, for a variety of reasons similar to men, but it looks a little bit different for women as perpetrators. That's what the experts say. There's another reason men may not report harm by women, because they know that their female partners are reacting to abuse perpetuated by them. See, it's like a vicious cycle. No matter who it's happening to, it's like a vicious cycle. This abuse thing, mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional, it happens. And if there's a man in your life that you suspect, get them help. I'm going to provide you with a website and a phone number, but I want you to say something. If you see something, say something. Excuse me. One of the authors said that women who use force often do so because they feel broken by the systems they have become part of. Isn't that sad? It's a little frightening. So if a woman feels broken, in this case, if they're an abuser, they lash out versus seeking help. Some, not all, just some. A predominant reason women use force in intimate partner relationships is because they themselves are being abused. Like I said, it's unresolved trauma and harm from previous relationships. It becomes a domino effect. Now, let me give you an example. I was talking to Dr. Muhammad. And again, please check out that interview, that podcast here in my library. Just click on it. And I guarantee you, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to be able to stop watching because she's something else. She's amazing. But one of the things I shared with her during the interview was that my dad was abusive to my mom, right? When we were kids growing up, my sisters and I. And one of the things he used to do after they divorced was, he worked at Chrysler. So once or twice a month, he'd pick us up, or was supposed to pick us up, right? from our house after he got off work. Many, many, many times he didn't show up. So fast forward to me getting older, getting married. Excuse me, guys, these allergies are killing me. But many times he didn't pick us up. So as we got older and got married, and I told Dr. Muhammad this, that there were times where my husband would say, okay, I'm going to pick you up from work, or I'm going to pick you up from, point A to point B, whatever. And I'll be there at like 4 o'clock. I tell you what, if he was not there at 4 on the nose, I would lose my mind. Did y'all hear me? I would lose it, go off on my husband. And he'd have to say, wait a minute, what is going on with you? And it wasn't until years later that I had conversations with my sisters and found out they were doing the same things with their partners, with their husbands, because we had not identified the fact that, as Dr. Muhammad shared with me, it was a sense of abandonment. And that was left as a result of my father not showing up to pick us up, right? So unless these issues are addressed, it just becomes a vicious cycle, And so when the authors of this article said that women abuse because they have been abused, I wasn't abusive. I just want to be clear on that. But it was that issue that would just like spark a total argument. Because I'm like, you said, he's like, well, it was traffic, or I got stuck late at work or something like that. But I'm like, but you said, and I couldn't hear anything else. So I was kind of understanding some of these issues that these individuals face in these relationships. So there was a Canadian study as well. Oh, and custody battles is one of the times where men report abuse. That is one of the highest times where they report abuse. Okay. In a Canadian study by Nicholas Bala, researchers found mothers make deliberate false reports less than 2% of the time, but fathers involved in contested custody are 16 times more likely to make false reports of abuse. So this is when, the tables are turned. They'll make false reports of abuse. All right. So that kind of muddies the waters there. So I wanted to get you guys thinking about this because I think we tend to, and I'm guilty of it too, we just focus on women. We just focus on us. Guys don't get abused. Who'd have thunk it? No way. Oh, yeah. Yes way. It does happen. Now, women who cause harm are more likely to choose a non-physical violence. They'll choose emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse rather than physical, based mostly on size and strength differences, right? You could imagine that. Some of the tactics include name calling, belittling, and putting down. It can also be, or women can also be very controlling, and they may not allow certain things to happen within the relationship, and you can, I know everybody's thinking sex, right? They might withhold sex. That's a form of abuse if you're married. That's an agreed upon thing in your marriage, and it's important. Financial abuse may also come into play when women attempt to have power over their partners. And the experts say we don't like to talk about financial abuse, but financial abuse happens to men. And the experts say it's definitely a factor. Right? Money abuse. That's what they call it. And then there's this other part of the article, which I thought was very interesting. Women labeled as abusive may be using self-defense, right? So listen to this. Some harm caused by women may fall under the somewhat controversial definition of mutual abuse, meaning two partners are equally abusive toward each other, and which domestic violence experts call false and say it is an irresponsible term to perpetuate. Told y'all, this thing is layered. It's layered. It was, as I'm reading it, I'm like, what the heck? There's so much going on in the world today. You really have to have your eyes and ears open and tune into people and make sure that when you're in their presence, you are present. You get that? Make sure that when you're in their presence, you are present. because there might be some signs and symptoms that are there, but because we might be on our phones or talking to somebody else or not looking them in their eyes or not, giving them our 100% attention, there might be something that you miss, and the life you save may be that of your family member, your friend, because you never know what happens in people's minds when they reach their limits. You know what I mean? It's a slippery slope, as they say. So now, how the system sees things, okay? If a woman's patterns of harm are in response to her partner's abuse tactics used as a way to keep herself or her children safe, this could be considered self-defense. However, the legal system does not always see it that way, right? They say mutual abuse is so rare, you're typically going to have one party who has much more control. That's what the expert says. And the whole point of domestic abuse is that one party has control over the other party. That's where it all comes from. Let's get down to some of the resources here. Men who are abused can turn to resources for help, just like women can. They are out there. And as I was as I'm going through this, and don't worry, I'm coming to a close here, but I thought this was very important since we were talking about domestic violence and PTSD with Dr. Muhammad, because she experienced it in a way that I have never heard. And I've interviewed hundreds of experts and, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, hundreds throughout my career. And what she went through just blew my mind. I just never heard anything like it. So when it comes to help, in some areas, men can find shelters that can house them, just like women. Men can also reach out to women's shelters for help, because as you can imagine, they have a bank of information that applies to men and women. Men can reach out to these women's shelters even if the shelters won't house them. They often have funds to pay for a hotel room or another form of housing for them. So if you're not sure what to do and you're in this situation, you're a man who's being abused by your spouse and you got to get out of that situation physically, you got to get out, go to a women's shelter or call one. Ask for help, because they're all connected in terms of getting people out of imminent danger. And they do a great job. I've talked to and interviewed a lot of those folks who run those houses, who run those organizations, and they are very resourceful and they know how to get things done quickly to get you out of harm's way. So again, when it comes to help, keep in mind that reaching out for help doesn't have to mean living in a shelter. I know when I say the word shelter, it's stereotypical, right? A lot of people are like, I don't want to tell anybody I live in a shelter. It's embarrassing. It's shameful, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. If you're dead or if you're severely physically attacked, there is no shame. You just are gone. So don't let embarrassment keep you from seeking help. That's my point. Okay. Key takeaways here, folks. Gender differences in intimate partner violence. While men are more frequently perpetrators of intimate partner violence, women can also engage in abusive behaviors, often using non-physical tactics such as emotional, psychological, or financial abuse. And as I said earlier, a lot of times these behaviors are linked to them being abused. Number 2, challenges in recognizing and reporting abuse. Male survivors often struggle to report abuse due to societal stereotypes about masculinity and a lack of recognition of non-physical forms of violence as abuse. So they don't get help. Get help if you need it. Don't let ego play a part in whether you live or die. Number 3, legal and social complexities. The distinction between self-defense and aggression can be blurred, especially for women reacting to abuse. Legal definitions of self-defense may disadvantage women in relationships with abusers, and societal misconceptions about mutual abuse often misrepresent the dynamics of power and control in such situations. So, how do you get help? Where do you turn to? The National Domestic Violence Hotline is this number. Please write it down if you or someone you know is in this situation, and then we're going to wrap things up here. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, the number is 1-800-799-7233. Once again, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. And if you'd like to log on to a website to get more information, helpguide.org. Once again, helpguide, GUIDE.org is another outlet that you can seek help from. But the National Domestic Violence Hotline can provide you with a plethora of websites, information, and guidance in how to navigate through your situation. So, again, I just wanted to follow up because the podcast that I just did with Dr. Mildred Muhammad was so heavy. And the abuse that she underwent was so diabolical. It can be made into a movie. I promise you that they can make her life into a movie, because it was stuff I had never heard. It was frightening. So again, check that out. But I wanted to kind of balance the scales to let people know that it's not just women. Men are being abused in our country and around the world as well. So look out for them. Watch out for them. Look for the signs. Call your friends and family and say, hey, just checking on you. You good? We don't do that anymore. We'll send a text. No, we don't stop by anymore. Send them, pick up the phone and call so you can hear their voice. Stop by the house, tell them to meet you for lunch on you. We got to connect better because technology has put us in a position whereby we don't connect physically anymore. We don't hug. We don't shake hands. We don't give each other dap. We got to get back to that, because that's human nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this helps. By the way, my interview with Dr. Mildred Muhammad, that was part 1. There is going to be a part 2 and a part 3. So please spread the word on that. Again, you're not going to be able to stop watching. I can't stop talking about it because it shook me. I was shaking on the inside when I was done with that interview. All right. So that is it. That's all for me. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I'll talk to you again later. Same place, same space. And remember, the MOJ podcast is all about doing well by doing good. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. If you do decide to drink, get a designated driver. Happy Independence Day. Take care.